Hello, everyone, and welcome to Polysaturated. I am one of your hosts, Zan, and I am here with
Crow
and
Jay.
And we welcome you to this episode. Before we get started, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. So I want to try something a little different. I'm not sure if everybody listens to the episode all the way to the end. So I want to mention it ahead of time. If anybody would like to give us a review on Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts, we're not Apple users, so we don't really know. It's one of those things.
We're kind of an Android house.
Yeah. Droids. But yeah, that'd be great. Also, hit us up at our Patreon at patreon.com/polysaturated. We would greatly appreciate anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
anything.
Yep.
Be a sweet bean. Be a friend with bennies.
Yep. Yeah, we have a few different levels. We have Flick the Bean for $1, and Sweet Beans for $2, and Just a Tip for $5. And we also have, friends with benefits and stuff like that. So
be daring.
Yeah.
It's only the tip. So just the tip. Just the tip.
So
The tip of what?
We don't know.
we
are not specify.
That is yet to be determined. This episode, we're going to talk about a little something I'm completely oblivious to.
Something you're oblivious to?
Yeah.
But you're so aware
Of
everything except for this.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit back and just listen, and maybe I might pick up something on this, because we're going to be talking about flirting.
Flirting. This is false flag flirting. This is false flag flirting.
And just flirting in general,
In case you're just totally effed.
Well, isn't the point of flirting to get effed?
Eventually. Yeah.
Eventually.
Unless you're not serious about it.
Yeah, well, that's
Or
false.
unless you don't want to do that.
So, flirting in general and false flag flirting. Any more F's we can add to that?
Fantastic false flag flirting. When you flit, you flutter, you fly, and you do other F-related things.
Like Flick the Bean.
There could be flicking.
There could be.
Flirting. Fornicating.
Fornicating.
Yes.
Flirting can lead to fornicating.
It can. So, here's the thing. A lot of people in not just this community, but in a lot of communities everywhere, there are people who have such a hard time. I know somebody personally like this, and I'm not going to say who it is, but some people have such a hard time knowing if somebody is flirting with them or not.
What? And would that somebody that you're staring at be me?
Oh, just this is the way the microphone's pointed, so
No. It's kind of
we're
like
talking to each other.
It's kind of like at an angle between me and Jay,
right?
So
I'll just look at the shirt between you.
Yeah, how about that?
Because
okay. I have a feeling you're kind of talking about me.
Well, you are talking, so this is a dialogue back and forth sort of a thing. Anyway, so the thing is,
You guys are so cute.
so the thing is, flirting can be hard to identify. There can be claims of flirting where none exist, which is what I think the careful person is always on the lookout for. When people are being like, oh, I didn't know they were flirting with me, it's because they've already decided they're not going to make assumptions.
That'd be me.
They've decided, okay, I don't want to assume they're flirting and embarrass myself or embarrass them or put them in an awkward situation, so I'm just A, B, and C behavior, I'm just going to cut it all out of my mind and say they're just being nice.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Conversely, there's people who, every time people do A, B, and C behavior, they think, wow, this person's flirting with me. Maybe they think they have a golden vagina. Somebody legit said that to us.
Yeah.
That person's flirting with me. They want me.
No,
they don't.
They said hi. That's really it. So I have a kind of a bit of a different way to tell if somebody is flirting with me. Jay will tell me.
That for some of us, I think that's a big thing. For a lot of us, that's how we have to do it, is literally somebody has to point it out to them.
But first, I will deny it a lot. And she will keep telling me, no, they are. And I was like, no, they're just being nice.
Now, I don't know the proper technical term for it, but have you ever been to an airport and seen a guy motioning a plane into its proper area with light up sticks? Those things, I don't know what they're called. Those motions like that. A person flirting with Zan literally needs those to direct him to the area between their legs. Just land your craft here.
I can't deny that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah,
it's pretty accurate.
One thing that kind of hinders me in telling if somebody's flirting with me is living the corporate life. I have been in a very corporate lifestyle for, well, ever since I was out of high school. I was in a corporate mindset where, HR is there. And like one of my first jobs out of high school, I worked with engineers, lawyers, and HR because I was a low man on a totem pole, and that's the floors I got assigned to. So that's where I was. And so it made it fairly difficult to tell because I didn't want to get in trouble. I was young, I was dumb, and I was working on floors with engineers, which, they're kind of an interesting group to begin with.
Quirky.
Yes, we are, because I are one. But also working with lawyers in HR. So you kind of have that,
best behavior.
Yeah, I am on my best behavior at all times.
Now, that's the funny thing is he sat there and called himself young and dumb, and yet he was self-aware enough to know that he was at the time, so he modified his behavior accordingly. Jay, help out your rather clueless husbands. What are some major signs of somebody is actually flirting with you? Could you tell us the story of somebody who was obviously flirting with Zan and who you had to, literally grab him by the head and show them? Right here, see? Right there. So X was one.
X definitely was one.
Yeah, and you didn't notice that.
I mean, she was pretty much throwing herself at you.
Yeah, she literally was.
She didn't do subtle.
No, there was no subtle.
Yeah, no. So you didn't pick up on completely not subtle.
At first, yeah, I did not. But after Jay and I had a conversation, she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, let me look at it next time. And then sure enough, I was like, oh, yeah, that's what that is.
He was like, yeah, you were right. Like, imagine that.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, just imagine.
Jay, right? No, never. I wouldn't know how that would be because she's always not wrong.
Oh.
I know in my situation of being completely oblivious, I think it gets interesting in a poly situation where once somebody finds out that you're in a polycule or that you're poly in general, things can sometimes shift in a friendship. Because once they find out you're poly, they're like, oh, well...
Do you mean there's a chance?
If you notice a shift in a friendship, once they find out that you're poly, then it comes up with, okay, well, does that mean that they realize that, I'm more open-minded, that I'm okay with, things, but if they don't know what level of, openness as far as relationship goes, then they don't know where you stand. At the same time, let's take it back and say, if you have something for somebody that is in a poly relationship and you kind of feel a certain way about somebody, how about you just tell them? Because if a friendship takes a certain turn towards a flirty, you know what? I've had friends that were flirty in general, and it was fun. It was kind of a thing where it was a kind of a banter, a banter flirt type of thing, and that's kind of how it went. But if you don't know, it makes things difficult. And so it's like, hey, I don't know where this person's coming from. And then if you bring it up to them, you don't want them to be offended. Like, hey, look, I noticed that our friendship kind of shifted when you found out. I just want to make sure that, we're still good, even though I'm not interested in you in a relationship status, a friendship. And again, being friends and cuddling and whatever,
You notice they starting the text with "hey" with multiple Y's at the end,
right? Or or something along those lines where it you notice things shift. I may be oblivious, but at the same time, I don't want to assume that that person is flirting with me, and so I'm not going to say anything. I'm not because I don't want to make it weird. It kind of gets a little.
So is some of your oblivion then just literally you have been pretending not to notice this entire time and you just kind of sell it at the end?
No, usually this comes after Jay has told me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is there any truth that have either of you noticed? Because this blew up online and different social media platforms of the multiple Y's at the end of the hey.
I think it is. But I've gotten that from coworkers too.
Yeah, I don't.
So I think in some respect it does.
Possibly, but not really.
Right.
One of those easy deniable things.
Exactly. Because I did get that from a coworker, and it was like after we started doing some work banter and stuff like that, and I was like, I don't want to assume, but at the same time, things are weird. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
I don't know. This is why I like radical transparency.
Yes,
absolutely.
Just come out about it. We can figure it out after. don't leave me guessing, because then I used to be naturally flirty with nearly anyone I met. And then over the years, it got, oh, well, you did this. You must mean whatever. And I'm like, no, I really wasn't. I told you we're just friends. So it got taken the wrong ways, and I got accused of leading people on and this and that. So I just kind of muted everything.
Well, and it gets more difficult for you because you're bi, and the same with Crow, because...
So every time we're nice to somebody, they think we're after.
Right.
Exactly.
For bisexual people, there are no friends. There is only prey.
Well, it's like one of the first times I came out to somebody as bi. They're like, I hope you're not telling me because you want to be with me. And I'm like, wow.
And that same person, fast forward a few years, wanted you to be their first
actually
bi
wanted me to be
relation.
their first, and I was like,
no.
No, still not into you.
Wasn't then, not now.
It's a delicate thing, and it kind of sucks because you either go full force and you don't care and you just be you and people have to accept it, or you try to mute your flirtatious colors and just adhere to the societal norm, whatever the hell that is these days. And so then you just end up being some weird mutant of a person that is like, okay, well, what does this mean? What does that mean? What is it? It's like, Jesus, just tell me. Like, or like, even if I have gotten that way, I will tell you. These are my intentions, and I'm going to stick with them. I get it. Some things happen over time, but generally you have to be open to that happening. So if you're not open to that happening, well, then it's probably not going to happen. Not saying that it won't, but...
what you're saying about radical transparency, it's a necessity with poly people.
Yeah.
Because you really do have to let people know what's going on, because chances are if you have somebody that you're interested in, they may or may not even know that you're poly, or may not understand that you can be friendly and not be flirting.
Right.
Or, or just because you are bisexual and poly, every friendly thing that comes out of your mouth is not a flirt. Or
just that, now you're flirting with them because they realize you're poly.
Yeah.
Like, you may have hugged them a million times before, but now they're weird about it because you're flirting with them.
Or now they're not weird about it because you're flirting with them.
Yeah, or now they feel like they can be handsy or do different things, and it kind of redefines things in their mind when you're just like, I'm the same person I always was. What's changed now?
It's one of those things that a lot of people, when we've covered this in other episodes, you introduce them to the fact that you're poly and they immediately think you're trying to recruit.
No, we are not Scientology.
I just don't want you to... I want you to not misunderstand when I talk about my husband and wife. I would really like you to understand where I'm coming from. And no, I didn't divorce one and marry the other over the weekend. I'm just talking about the other one now. Or while I was in the closet, I used to talk about... air quotes, my wife, and I would be talking about either one.
Oh, yeah. And me, I hate the way I have to do it, but it's work. So, friends and stuff like that, it's bullshit, but it sucks.
But the radical transparency can be such an important thing because it will cut through all of that uncertainty.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. It would if people were just open to having... adult conversations.
Hold on. You mean open and honest communication?
Holy shit, take a sip.
And today, our coffee, our sips, are brought to you by Cafe Bustelo. Numb.
Actually, was
and
this
raw
the
milk. Yeah.
Was this the pot that I made this morning? Okay, so this is half Papua New Guinea and half something else.
See, Selkie caught on to it. She was like,
something different when they cup.
What's going on with the coffee? And I was like, I don't know. It's the same as it always is. I'm like, it is lighter, though. I just thought you put less.
Oh. Anyway, so that's why. It was early. I was in a hurry to make the pot. And, okay, these two. There's a lot of flirting that has that certain feel of plausible deniability.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, they're trying to get it out there, but they're trying to look like they're not trying to get it out there, so that if you reject them, they can always pull it back and be like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Zip it right back and be like, nope, not at all.
I have had situations like that. It was heavy flirting. Heavy flirting. And I was, of course, in denial, but I kind of knew what was going on. But at the same time, it was